Right, one of the things that you can really get bogged down in when you're looking at the markets is you kind of miss a bit of the big picture, right? There's no end of technical analysts that have got like a gazillion lines everywhere, whether they're trend lines, whether they're just outright price lines, whether they're Fibonacci's, whatever, right? Same with indicators. You get your RSIs, your Bollinger Bands, your Mackie D's, all these things, right? Your exponential moving averages. One of the things that I do is like each week, I totally clean out, the way I'm looking at the market and really go back to square one. The market changes, right? Technical analysis is looking back, right? So if you've got stuff that you've been hanging on to for the last 6 months, it can actually be a bit of a bad influence on you, right? Because you start influencing the way you're looking at the market with the way in which you're looking at it 6 months ago, which is not good, right? So this is the way I start. So this is a 4 hourly. I like looking at the price action on 4 hourly. Like it's better than a daily because you get a bit of the intraday action, a bit more colour, but you don't get the noise of when you go down to like hourly and 15 minutes. When I'm getting set, right, and looking to exit positions, I'll go down to like a 15-minute position, sometimes like 5-minute, ones to see when levels are breaking. But generally, like 4 hour, that's my go-to, right? I'll go weekly and monthly as well, right? And this format I kind of like it's a bit weird, right? Because it's not a line, it's an area one. But for me, there's something about it that just kind of helps me get a bit of clarity, right? So when I open this one up, right, I just look at what are the things that just strike me straight off the bat, right? One of them here, bang, a big level. Resistance support, I'm kind of thinking, right, 7100, that's one for me to watch. Next one, you got to do it quickly, right? Okay, broke the level there. All right, great. What else have we got? Okay, we've got like, let me get the right shape. We've got a little double top here, right? Okay, that's good. So these things to me saying, right, we've got like key support broken once, another one being tested, double top. What else have we got? We got trending down here. Right, to me, short, target, stop, right? That's the first impressions. I'll then kind of zoom out like a little bit more, and I might look at like something like a little bit longer, and I'll go, right, okay, here we go. Boom, that's a big one. Wipe out some noise here. Okay, right, it's definitely broken. Then I'll look a little bit longer, and I might go out to like a weekly, like this. Often skip the daily, right? And I go, right, this is what's going on here. There's a big one here. Right, 7,000, that looks like a pretty big one. Oh, and there's another one here. That's some of my bigger picture targets, right? So this, to me, it looks like a bit of an air pocket, like in here. For me, it looks like, right, this is a big level of watch when it's coming back. And that would be another one. Then, and only then, will I start looking at like some candlesticks or a tighter time frame. And you can see from the lines, like they line up really nicely. But the lines is just that area one. It's just, for me, a very simple way of looking at things. And you can see how just those first impressions, they kind of start ringing true, really, pretty quickly, right? We've just dropped off a cliff here as Asia has opened. It's like 10 to 6 in Australia here, right? So the Aussie markets, just cash markets closed. Europe is just starting, right? So for me, I'm still short the Aussie. I had been, I had, instead of stopping out, like when it picked up here, I doubled up, came down. I cashed in part of the position just late this afternoon, and I switched it to be short the S&P and also the currency again because they'd held up better than the Australian market, and it looked like they were heading the same way. And so I've still got like a similar amount of risk on, but I've just spread it to some things that had held up a little bit better. The Aussie market definitely oversold compared to the S&P. Then I want to look at the S&P, right? Same thing, right? What am I seeing here? Okay. One of the things I'm seeing here is like one of my favourite patterns which is, I call a toot toot. You are, I won't say the word right, where it goes like a high, like it goes like a high, a low, a high, a low, and it comes up and stalls midway. I've seen these things. They're a classic topping kind of pattern. And to me, they're always a bit disturbing. Typically, often they'll stall at the midpoint, which is what this one has done. So to me, this looks like a classic toot toot. You are whatever. I think some people call them like a megaphone or like a reverse triangle or whatever, fancy name, right? That's it. Okay, other impressions, right? Other impressions. This one, boom, 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 boom. Right, there's definitely a line there that's been broken. What else am I seeing? I'm seeing here, right? There's a level there where it was resistance, support, came through, broke it, resistance come through, has failed. Right, okay, there we go. So then I start looking a bit deeper. I go, right, here we go. I am seeing a bit of an air pocket here, down here, right, where there's a bit of a gap that hasn't been filled. These things always bother me. That magic level 4,000, that's what it turns out to be. And then my last impression is probably like here. Oh, yeah. Right, that looks very magnetic, doesn't it? Certainly does to me. With this bit of a toot toot, if it fails here, first stop here, next stop here, stop here. Right. So let's just have a look at a little bit longer on the weekly to see what other my impressions are. Yeah, right, okay. Here we go. This is the classic, like, look at that. Obviously, this is linear, not logarithmic, right? We'll talk about in another chat whether you do look at things logarithmic or just linear. Your trends are basically a function of price and time. If you're looking at big price moves over a long time, you've got to look at it logarithmic. If you're looking at a shorter time frame with smaller price moves, then definitely linear. This is somewhere in between, right? So there we go, and it's broken the levels there. Other things that strike me here, there's another air pocket here. That one, whoa, wouldn't that be ugly if that one was filled down there? Yeah, so that's, let's just look at one last one. Let's do a longer one. So we go to logarithmic, we switch to logarithmic, we start looking longer. And we come out to the, let's look at it monthly. I like looking at these things monthly. And we get this, again, this line going back to the, GFC, boom, 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 boom. Whoa, look at that, right? And it is, let's line up that one there. Line up that one there. Where are we? Zoom in. Right. Yeah, so that's my starting point. As far as what I've done recently in the S&P, I had got out of it when it was kind of down here. I've re-shorted it just this afternoon up here. It had failed had to reach this level and crack it. The Aussie market had turned, and so and it turned earlier, and that happens reasonably regularly. Asian time zone, and then Europe kind of leads into the US, and that's why you've got to watch the futures, right? Because if we look at the futures here, right, well, you can see, how it's just dropped off just this afternoon. This is on a 4-hourly, and like that's a pretty healthy break down from that recent recovery. And again, like on a micro level, same thing, right? You're higher, low, low, right? So you've got to watch the futures. So if you're not watching the futures, not trading the futures, you're going to come in as the US market's open, and you've got what we call in the trade gapping risk, right? As a guy who used to run options books and all kinds of trading books for an investment bank in the financial markets, gapping risk is like your enemy, man. You're flying in the dark. It is brutal, and you're going to get some by the looks of it when you wake up in the US for these people that think the cash market is a real market and they don't pay attention to the futures. I'll be looking at this one to break here. If it breaks there, it's looking very bearish. Overall, the picture here is still pretty bearish, and so I'm short that. So I'm short the Australian market, short the US market, short of the currency again, and I'm short the bonds, and they've been trending well. Look, that's it. Have a good one. Ciao.